everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Jimmy V Live. We got a real good one today. I always say that, but it's true. Okay, we got lips smacking foodie tours. Okay, this is a real good guy. He's a good guy. Don Contursi, and he is a fantastic person, okay? And he's going to have a lot to say. He's a great gentleman. He worked with Mark years ago. Hey, you know what? That's all what we were about. We're about to bring our guest, what's related to the food and beverage industry in some way, to you out there, our family out there, okay? With further ado, I want to bring in the man of steel. There he is. What's going on? Mr. Mark
Jimmy, how's it
Steele.
going today, man?
Everything's great, man. Everything's great. I'm really happy Don is with us today. It's important because he has a great thing. He has a great thing going on, and it's fantastic, and we'll get to that in a second. We have two more promo guys here now. We got two more guys. We got, it's excellent, and I'm really happy you guys out there that want to be our sponsors. We really, really appreciate it. There's some information on it. Right now, I'm going to do real quick. We have two of them, which is really good. And this guy is something, his corporation is excellent. It is Paul Lagudi Fresh Food Group. Lagudi Fresh Food Group is a partner to its food service and retail customers, providing quality products at set and transparent prices and competitive prices as well. Lagudi offers everything from a full line of whole and cut produce, plant-based products, value-added opportunity buys, handmade European pastries and desserts, to anything their customers desire, cooked out of their USDA kitchen. Lagudi Fresh Food Group is a one-stop full-service food company. And actually, when Lagudi had his other company before, they were my first client, Mark, So to say good. It's real good. And then we have his daughter, Paulina, who actually has Say Little Productions, which is a production company focused on creating captivating food-focused commercials, branded work, as well as cinematic narrative sources. And this is her information as well. So they're good people. Get out there. If you guys want more information on them, let me know. They're real good. And I appreciate them for being our sponsors. And of course, you guys know Piero's already. But with further ado, we are going to bring in our guest. And here he is. Don, how you doing, buddy?
Wonderful. How are you? How's it going? Hey, Mark.
We are doing great. Up, and I'm happy you're here. As we mentioned off air, very good to have you. I want you to explain everything about you, what you do in your business and how you got there.
Well, thank you for having me. So Lip Smacking Foodie Tours is now 5 years in. Before that, I worked in restaurants here in Vegas for over 10 years. When I went to college and after college, hospitality industry. And then I started 5 years ago, wanting to show people around. There's so many amazing restaurants in Las Vegas. And, it's overwhelming a lot of times, even for locals. And each of these restaurants, they're, the good ones are really known for something special, whether you're going for their signature dish or a program that they're offering that nobody else is doing. And, with the insider knowledge, I wanted to kind of take people around and highlight what each of these restaurants are special for and curate an experience from different experiences. So multiple experiences all in one. And we host them every day. We've expanded from doing them on the Strip to all over town, downtown, Arts District, Chinatown. We're looking at doing some other ones in the future, and we've even gone outside of Las Vegas, hosting some groups. So yeah, it's basically an experience, lunch or dinner. They take 2.5 hours, and it's a VIP experience where you're escorted right into the restaurant. They seat you right away, a tasting menu of their signature dishes, optional beverage package, and then we have a tour guide that takes you along the way and tells you about not only the restaurants, but some of the art and things that, if you're not from Vegas, you may not know.
Yeah, wow, that's great.
I know,
Yeah.
Donnie, you've been going for about 5 years right now. You and I kind of opened our business right around the same time. And, I mean, congratulations to you on your success right now. And I've just seen you grow, and, you're the hardest working guy that we know. And it's good to see all the success that's coming with you right now. So tell us about some of the restaurants that you do go to, because, even myself and Jimmy, all three of us, we know people up and down the strip, but you're right. It can be overwhelming with all these new restaurants that are opening up, all these new celebrity chefs. How do you take the guesswork out of somebody coming in from out of town and they just go to you and say, hey, you know what? I want to go to a bunch of restaurants. How did this, tell us from the whole experience from start to finish, including some of the restaurants.
So we partner with a lot of the restaurants at Aria Resort and Casino, Cosmopolitan. We've hosted tours at Venetian and Wynn. Some of the restaurants, if you're in the know, you certainly have heard of them, like Javier's, if you're from Southern California. But if you're from, maybe a smaller town and, the country, you've maybe never heard of the restaurant. So we take you to truly the best ones. Milos, where they fly the seafood in from Greece almost every day. Momofuku, celebrity chef restaurants as well, like David Chang, Scarpetta, STK. We showcase the vibe dining with the DJ. Blue Ribbon. We talk about the brothers from New York. We go to Carbone, John George, Bardo Brasserie by celebrity chef Michael Mina. So quite a few, and then a lot of others that haven't reopened. Some days, yeah. I've been known to do 3 tours in one day, and maybe like 12 different restaurants all in one night.
Great,
that's excellent. So you're a hands-on guy.
It's been a while, but for quite a few years, I actually was doing the tours myself, and I'm glad I did, because the tour guides, I've pretty much been through everything that they've experienced, or it's very rare that something comes up that I'm not familiar with. So it's great to have been hands-on for so long.
Wow.
But yeah, right now I'm doing less of the tours and more of the operations and marketing. To be on the ground hosting a tour, there's too much going on to take myself away for 3 hours when I have so many moving parts. We have multiple tours going out at one time, and I don't know if you're familiar, Jimmy, but we started these self-guided tours during the pandemic, and so those take place all over. So there's days that we're working with maybe 15 restaurants, different ones, all in one day. Right. So it's a lot of logistics, a lot of customer service, and we want to make sure that we're providing a great experience and not letting anything slip through the cracks. So very detail oriented, which is something that Mark had taught me when we worked together.
Of course. That's the man, Mr. Etiquette.
Here's a little bit off skew right now, Donnie. So, Donnie,
it's important
about your history too. Where you from? Where you went to school? How you ended up in Las Vegas? Give us a little path along the way. I know a little bit because I've known you for 10, 15 years now. But tell us, all of our viewers, a little bit about your personal history.
Sure. So I grew up in Chicago. In this, not downtown, but in Chicago, about 40 minutes away from downtown, and, went to high school, St. Patrick High School, and, private grade school. And my mom actually had her own business. It was a children's clothing boutique, like high-end children's clothing for, baptisms, christenings. My father had his own business, which was like a high-end custom furniture, and if you shopped at his store, it was like the elite, sort of furniture. So they've all kind of had their own businesses. And my mom sold her business to move out to Las Vegas. She needed to get out of the cold weather. And about 2 years, I stayed back in Chicago. And finally, she had convinced me to come out to Las Vegas, kind of get a new start. I was a bit stuck in the neighborhood, not really a lot of opportunity. Just hanging out with my friends, just not much going on. And so I had moved out here, and it was a change, it was different from the Midwest. And about 2 years it took for me to get used to it. And then I graduated high school. I went to community college. I went to UNLV. During this time, I found my way working in restaurants. I didn't start at the top, because you have to build that resume in order to get there. And then I had realized how incredible the tips could be if you work at a really nice, busy and expensive restaurant. So I discovered, how am I going to get to these top steakhouses, because that's where, 20% across the board, they're, making great money. So I worked my way up, a lot of tenacity. I don't know if you remember the way I had gotten the job at Social House, but I went straight to the owner when I was dining at his other restaurant. And, I got up in the middle of service and, spoke with him, and he kind of pushed my resume your way. And I guess coming from him, you felt the need to give a interview, and it worked out. And so I worked my way through all these restaurants, some of the top ones like STK. I opened the first year that the Cosmopolitan opened. That was a great experience. I worked at Wynn over at Botero. I worked at Social House, like we mentioned, Lavo, Sushi Samba, quite a few places, RM Seafood. And then my last was over at Paris at Gordon Ramsay Steak. I was there for about 3.5 years. And then, part of my hobby on my off time was keeping up with all the restaurant openings and trying them out. I became a diner myself. My girlfriend at the time and I would go, to a new restaurant for date night, every time. And just, I was really in the know. And then, I was kind of searching for something other than what I was doing. And, I enjoyed waiting tables and providing a great guest experience, but I felt like there was something missing where I wanted to do more. And so that's how I kind of came up with this idea and launched it while I was still working at the steakhouse. And then, the guests were just over the moon, and I knew I was onto something, and I just have been pushing ever since and quit my job. And once I jumped over, I that was a tough gig to let go. It was a union position, guaranteed, X amount of money every night. I had a really great lifestyle, 40 hours a week, it was fantastic. So to give that up, it was a hard job to get in the first place. And then, that's what's always motivated me is, I want to make my business work because it's a fantastic experience. And it's something that Vegas never had that I think, why not Vegas for a food tour?
That's a great idea. And, as you mentioned, your experience, it's not like, hey, I worked in this one place. You have a vast variety of establishments you worked with and different hotels. So you've got the experience. So now you know exactly how to put it together. At the very beginning, was it kind of tough to start putting everything together when you first started out?
I knew which, I built a list of my favorite restaurants and the must orders when you go to those restaurants. And then I had curated what I would think would be the ideal meal. And then I had to approach them. And I knew that, I couldn't approach them without, a website, a business card, a uniform. So I had to have all those ducks in a row. Otherwise, it would just be an idea and, okay, thanks for letting us know. We'll call you, sort of deal, And so I did all that. I laid all the groundwork. And then I knew that I needed to get with the top restaurants for the others to sign on. So that was the biggest hurdle because, nobody wants to be in bad company. So if you're going to a chain that anybody could go to, it's like, well, we were a little bit more exclusive. It's maybe not a good fit for us. So once I had gotten in with a couple of the, brand new, amazing restaurants, it was like, well, they're doing it. Well, why aren't we, sort of deal? And it's just been, a partnership that's blossomed. I've been with some of the same partners for the beginning, 5 years, many covers, lots of repeat guests. We're consistent. We run a smooth operation. So there's no hiccups. We want to make it easy on our partners and we want to represent them well. So myself and our tour guides take a lot of pride in, getting our fact checking right, representing our partners to the best of our ability and keeping up with everything that's new, whether it's just everything, and wanting to share that with people who are looking for a great experience. So I like to kind of say that we're more of the messenger. We find people that are looking for a great experience. We know exactly where to take them, and we just make the connection, and everybody wins because, they love our experience. They return to the restaurants. They're taking photos, posting it on social media, bragging rights to say, I went to these top 4 restaurants in one night. It goes on and on and on. And I did a tour the other day, the guest had said, ever since you took us to this restaurant, we've been back, 4 times with other friends. And I hear that constantly, get emails, and it's rewarding, especially for the independents like downtown, the owner operated restaurants that really make an impact, because the owners are there to greet those repeat guests.
Wow, that's awesome, Donnie. And I know a big part of it, and I was actually, I don't mind to share with everyone, I was actually on your very first tour when you first started out. And it was, you contacted me and asked me to come along, and, I can't resist going out to go eat. And the first stop we have is at Bardot restaurant, where, over in the REO, which I think it just opened up. So we're already in there, and we're getting the escargot, and the chef's coming to the table. And then we go to Jaleo, where they bring out a paella the size of my car, and we're taking pictures. And then we end up over at Gordon Ramsay Steak with, sliced beef Wellington, which is their signature. And, and I eat a lot and I like to drink a lot. And I was completely stuffed by the end. And, and we ended up, I think, over at Sugar Factory or Hex, and we did some chocolate over there too. So it's just been great to see you grow and evolve. And it's been amazing to be at the first one. Can you give us a little bit about the price point for those who are interested? Do you change according to season? Do you change according to restaurant? I know you have the downtown one. I mean, let's tell, we have viewers from all over the whole world. So let's your time to pitch it now, huh?
Well, lunch, we have lunch pricing, which is different than our dinner tour.
Sure.
We make the pricing. I mean, while it might sound a little on the higher side, when you take into consideration everything you receive, it's unbelievable. So lunch is $125 all in with the gratuities to the restaurant. And you go to 4 restaurants, and at each restaurant you get to try 3 of their signature dishes. So for that price point, it's unbelievable. The dinner, that one's $199. Every night we have that. We offer an option for an upgrade. We've been partnered with Maverick Helicopters for 4 years now. Every night we take our guests to the shuttle pickup. Maverick picks them up, takes them to their terminal, flies the guests over the strip, and they'll bring them back to their hotel for an extra $100. Most people sign on for it. They go all in. It's Vegas. It's over the top.
Absolutely.
Then we have downtown, which whether it's lunch or dinner, that's $125. And we have experiences that we do book on request. You'll find on our website. We have a steakhouse tour. We've hosted many times. $7.99 a person. So that's creme de la creme. We're talking like Japanese Kobe beef and Spanish Iberico ham and fine wines to go along with. Limousine pickup takes you over to Bazaar Meat. We would go to John George and Mastro's, and it's the work. Surf and turf. It's really like how I would want to be, dine if everything was carte blanche.
This is once in a lifetime experiences. People are coming to Las Vegas for experiences you can't get anywhere. I mean, where else are you going to go and get all these celebrity chefs all in one experience? A limo driving you around. I know you probably had a lot of wedding proposals on there, and a lot of corporate events coming in. So it's been awesome. So I know also that you're very big on social media and TripAdvisor and Yelp, and I know you've won a ton of awards too. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we've been fortunate. We have a very loyal following. Almost daily, we have a guest that's been on one of our tours that's joining us again, and they don't even live here. So every time those Best of Las Vegas awards come out, we'll send an email out to our our database, ask them to support us, and they want to see us do good because they know we're truly we care, and they feel that. And they want to see us succeed because, of course, when they come back, they want us to still be here with new lip smacking tours for them to experience. So they're all behind us. And, we make that ask. And I have people telling me they're voting every day. And, it's humbling. And so we have been fortunate to, they haven't announced this year, but the prior 4 years, we've won Best Tour, Best Food Tour. They created that category. I think the year after we started the business, a few others, Best New Tour, so quite a bit. And it's something that we're really proud of. And I like the fact that, people find us based on our reviews, and they'll come on tour and they'll say, we have never seen reviews like that before, where they're just all 5 stars. It's unheard of. Like, we've never seen anything like that. And we're big TripAdvisor or Yelpers. So they have to experience the tour. And then we like to say, what'd you think? And our goal, and we do, is to exceed expectations. No matter how high your expectations are, we still want to wow you. And we have little ways of doing that. Again, back to the details that we spoke about, allergies and dietary restrictions. It's not just here's your side salad. It's let us show you what we can do and how chefs can get creative and passionate about dishes that are, vegetable forward, and we serve them first. Typically vegetarians get their food, or whatever the restriction may be, get it when it comes out. Well, we want to set a thing where they get served first at each and every restaurant, so all the other guests go, wow, I should have said I was vegetarian, and so we have all these little things that make it special, and it's in the details. And at the end of the tours, we give out this amazing booklet. It's not inexpensive to print, that gives you recommendations on the best restaurants to visit during your stay. And there's no advertising in there. It's all genuine places, and I'm sure that if you were to look through it, you would probably say, yeah, those are the ones. And so we're just looking to give guests something that they've never had before, and we're constantly told it's the highlight to their trip. We're hearing that, especially now with a lot of things not being open. We've been on some fortunate to be on some articles on like what can you do during these times, and so we've been quite busy. And people that have maybe never thought about taking a food tour, that we're turning them on. But I also always hear them say, ever since we took your tour, we take them in other cities, but they're not the same. It's not lip smacking. I go, this is the Vegas version, baby.
Right. That's the big deal. It's the Vegas version. So let me ask you something. So great criteria that you have. Excellent. So if I'm a guy that I'm coming in from another state and I make arrangements, do I get to choose which place I can go to based on what you recommend, or is there a list, or you have set tours type of deal?
We have, we'll start you with asking, do you want to do the lunch or the dinner? And then we'll find out if you want to do the strip or the downtown. And then of course we have the arts district and some others, but it's not, a lot of people from out of town haven't heard of the restaurants, so it could almost overwhelm them, because it becomes a lot. So they when they start doing their research, they look at our reviews opposed to start digging into each of the restaurants, and they see that the strip is going to be your high end, award winning, just you step foot and you're like, wow, they didn't miss a beat anywhere. And it's a mix of cuisines: French, Greek, Italian, Spanish, you name it. Contemporary American, steakhouse. Or do you want to go downtown and you want to see where the locals go, hear the history of historic Las Vegas and why the revitalization, and take you to all the new hotspots where you're going to meet the owners, the chefs. You're going to walk through the container park, see a side of Vegas that maybe you wouldn't have discovered on your own. And it has more of a neighborhood feel, which a lot of people don't associate Las Vegas to have. So it's what are you in the mood for? Do you want to go, over the top, add the helicopter at the end? Do you want to go a little bit more casual and try some elevated comfort foods? And then the self-guided, those actually do list the restaurants, because those restaurants don't change except for depending on the day. Because right now in Vegas, not every restaurant's open 7 days a week. So depending on what day you book, it will determine what restaurants are visited. So that's why it's been a great partnership, to work with many other restaurants at both Aria and Cosmopolitan, because that's where our tour is.
That's awesome. It's true.
Yeah. So let's, and you alluded to a little bit. I know you started the finger licking foodie tours on the phone, so people can go around during the pandemic and some places aren't open. Tell us how the response has been pre-pandemic versus what we're dealing with right now. How you've evolved. How are these strangers and groups feeling about going with each other on these tours and these experiences together? How have you adapted the business? Because obviously you're doing well. We still hear a lot of great things about you. So tell us before and after and how you've gotten there. So
I had, during quarantine and, just everything shut down, I was worried about my business because it came to a halt. And so we started to, offer private tours, but I think the traveler that's visiting now, want to socialize and don't necessarily want to be isolated on a private tour. So we'll make that offer, or there's an option to, make your tour private during the checkout process. But we don't see a lot of popularity with that. I think the whole experience is to be with others, and, especially after being at home for so long. So that's been a little bit of a surprise that people want to be with others. But, pre-pandemic, I started a sister company that I hadn't announced yet, to be your more family oriented, more approachable price point, something that anybody could do. Because ours are a little bit, on the higher end. So I started the company Finger Licking Foodie Tours. But I hadn't really had any actual tours to offer. I was thinking maybe Link Promenade, Container Park, something a little more on the casual side. So then during quarantine, I had come up with the idea of a self-guided food tour. Self-guided tours all over the world. You could download an app, you could go on a website, but I have yet to see a self-guided food tour. And I think that's because of the logistics behind it. But because we've had, our partners for so long, they know that, we're going to have our guests showing up on time. We're going to have allergies, dietary restrictions.
Right.
There's not going to be, a party of 4 and all of a sudden there's 5 guests instead of 4. So we laid out the foundation to where it works, and it's been doing really, really well for locals, which is a market that we've not really focused on in the past. We were doing a lot of corporate events, and at the end of February, we had our largest group downtown this year for 210 people on one tour. And I was doing, I had tours lined up in every month in a new city. I just had done one this year in Canada. It goes on and on. But locals is something that, I've always felt, if I have repeat guests all the time on the tours and they don't even live here, well, how great would it be to expose these restaurants to locals? Because they hear about them, but sometimes they never get the motivation to actually go and check them out.
Right.
So if I could curate an experience at an approachable price point that they don't have to group in with people from out of town, because a lot of times locals just want to be with themselves and their friends and their family, whether they're visiting in from out of town or whether they're celebrating a birthday or date night. And, there's without the movie theaters and a lot of the shows curtailed, we've been doing a lot of advertising. We've been on some of the media, and we started off downtown, a self-guided tour, which is available any time of day, which is fantastic because usually you have to fall into our booking pattern. But with these, they're available every half hour. So you tell us what time you want to go. $79, 3 restaurants. They seat you right away. With the half capacity, reservations are pretty much required at some of these hot spots. This gets you seated right away. You get the tasting menu. It's like Uber. You get up and you leave. You don't have to tip. It's all inclusive. It supports multiple restaurants in the community instead of just visiting one. And it's a great way to get people in the neighborhood that linger once the tour concludes and maybe pop over to a bar, go back to their neighborhood, tell people about these new places. And it's a way to drive, tourism at a time when, tourism is down and restaurants could use a little bit of extra, support. And so after the downtown, we launched Arts District, Esther's Kitchen, Jammy Land. We go to an art gallery, and then we finish up with desserts at Cornish Pastico. And then I've always wanted to do one in Chinatown because, if you're not familiar with Chinatown, you might assume that it's all Asian cuisine, but a lot of the chefs from the Strip are, every French. I mean, you guys know, Spanish, every cuisine, and the ingredients are Strip quality, neighborhood hospitality, hidden gems found in these plazas and strip malls that you drive right past. And, I figured, well, now we can actually do these Chinatown tours because we don't have a minimum that we have to host and a tour guide and all the logistics with that. And we've incorporated, you get yourself to the first restaurant, just like you do all of our other tours, just like you're going to a restaurant, you get yourself there. And then 35 minutes after your visit, you get a text on your phone saying your Uber's outside. You get in the vehicle. You don't have to tell them where you're going. You don't have to pay. They take you 4-minute drive down to Lamai. And then the last restaurant, you walk right over. So it's all right there. And it's a great way to expose these chef-driven neighborhood hotspots that, people are still, unfamiliar with. And it's just rewarding to be able to showcase. And then we just launched self-guided with an Aria, which is a fantastic experience with the optional helicopter at the end.
And you know what? You mentioned the helicopter tours and stuff. I just wish, from what you're telling me, that Lake Mead would fill up and all the marinas would open up, because then you can do like the nice dinner cruise. Because I don't think anybody's doing that anymore in the lake because it's so down, you know? There's
Yeah.
a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, I'd like to do one in downtown Summerlin. You know, there's some great restaurants there, and especially on a Friday, Saturday, you know, it might be tough to get reservations. With our experience, you know, you check in with the host, they have you down, they seat you right away, your food gets pushed up, comes out nice, fresh, hot, you know, and then you're on your way, and it's fun. It's a great way to, like, you know, mingle with friends and support the various restaurants. So I'd love to expand maybe Green Valley Ranch and maybe even other cities.
Yeah, great. So, great, Donnie. I mean, like, what you're doing is phenomenal. How you came from point A to point B and where you are right now. Tell us a little bit about, you know, because you're very much into the food scene just in general, and not just here in Las Vegas, but in the entire world. Tell us about some trends or some restaurants. Tell us where you like to go, or some trends that you see upcoming soon. And you know, let's pick the brain of a master foodie over here.
Well, believe it or not, for those that don't know, I don't cook. You know, I dine out. That's what I do. And I'm not as familiar.
That's really surprising.
Well, and I'm not as familiar with restaurants outside of Las Vegas. I'm very honed in on Las Vegas. You know, we put up these blogs on our website that, you know, I think are very valuable. Tells you, you know, all these, you know, best desserts, best brunch, you know, best you know, hidden gems, best you know, so you know, I try to do that for people to, you know, have a source on where to go for some really great, non-biased information, even though I guess it's my information. But as far as trends, I mean, social plates, I don't know, that was a big thing, but I don't necessarily know how people are going to be feeling about, you know, sharing and community tables. You know, you go to a restaurant and there's one long table and everyone kind of mingles with strangers. I mean, it is my business to do the same thing, so I haven't seen, you know, a downturn with that. I've actually seen people wanting to connect now more than ever and get away from their cell phones, and, you know, and just actually being with each other. But I think, you know, outdoors and open spaces, outdoor events are, you know, weather permitting, I think those sorts of ideas are going to really become popular, and people are going to push forward with those. Maybe if it's not so much a buffet, you're going to have those chef interactive stations where the food will be there, but the chef will help serve it out. And, you know, especially when it comes to like banquets and events and receptions, you know, right now you're seeing like bento boxes, that a different way to do, you know, like a takeaway meal, you know, an elevated way, because, you know, we've gotten so elevated in so many ways that now we don't want to forget having to go back and take these precautions to forget about the experience. So we have to reinvent and say, okay, well, these are our constraints. How do we do it in a new way to where it's actually going to be a great experience? And that's what I think Vegas has always been known for, is the reinvention and always moving. There's always something going on, whether it's the Boring Company, underground tunnels, you know, the new resorts, you know, you name it. And so we are you know, one of the big fields that I'm involved with is the meetings and conventions. You know, that's huge industry to Las Vegas. I think we're seeing that, how huge it is now. And, you know, we're going to, you know, be the ones to be the trendsetters and, you know, show people how it's done safely, and still make a successful event for these organizations to come out and, you know, put these on. And so that's something that I'm staying close to, more of trends on those sorts of things, and experiences, which I think are going to be a lot of like outdoor events. And, you know, and I think Nevada's a good place for that, because, you know, people are wanting to go out and to these, you know, Outgo and check out the lake, like you mentioned, and just maybe Red Rock, or, you know, so it's kind of evolving in a different way.
So what do you see the trends in meeting and groups coming back into Las Vegas? Obviously, everything got wiped off the table until the end of 2020. Are people starting to peak back in as smaller groups and smaller conventions, or is it still everything kind of off the table?
I think people are eager to meet, but we're in this holding period with everything going on and with the regulations on how many can meet. It's up to 250 for the each venue, and I know that there are still events that are taking place in Las Vegas with those numbers. A lot of weddings, especially. People are it's wedding season, and love's not canceled, and people are coming to Las Vegas if they can't host their wedding in California. They're taking it to Vegas, and so we're kind of all pivoting and just working with what we have, whether it's those social groups. Maybe it's not some of the tech companies that are traveling, but maybe it's family reunions and milestone birthdays and that sort of thing. And so yeah, it's a different kind of business that's in town that we're gonna have to we work through until things are ready to come back. Which people are eager. It's just we're right in this kind of holding period that there's nothing really on the books for this year, but everybody's eager for sometime next year, and then hopefully international business is another big thing.
Sure.
We need to get all of that back. I know that the UK, the Brits are eager as soon as that the borders open.
Yep.
They're probably saving up, ready to come out to Vegas and let loose.
Absolutely. Today we may have some good news, because I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but the governor is supposed to speak today, and from my understanding, it's supposed to be something to do with what we do. So maybe, like you were saying, Don, maybe they're going to make, the meeting more attendees, more people to a table, anything that will help the industry. I was told it may happen today. So let's hope for the best today, because it just make everybody happy, because, we got to get going within the guidelines with all this pandemic stuff going on. But no, this is great, because what you do, the service that you give to the, not only locals, you do it for anybody, is fantastic, because I didn't think that a lot of people knew that, as far as the local end that I know, knew. I mean, this is great. You offer a lot, and this is what's phenomenal. And that's why I'm glad to have you on.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's it is a successful business, but there's more to it than just being, a thriving business. It's actually having an impact, and people telling, one of the things that I love is people telling me that this is the best thing that they've done in Las Vegas. And that's a big statement, when you consider all the things that there are to offer. And, that's the fuel to my fire is, hearing people truly tell you that and write a review and say, this is the highlight. And I've been to Vegas, 10 times, once a year, and all sorts of things. I did a tour the other day. I mentioned there was a guest on the tour that had taken one, 3-4 years ago, and she's been following along on Facebook and seeing, how we're doing. And she was like, I'm so proud of you, seeing how you started and where, all of that. And again, I wouldn't be as far along as I've come if it wasn't for the support of lots of people in Las Vegas and all over the place, the resorts, people that, stand by it and recommend and promote. It's a whole thing. It's not a one-person deal. My tour guides are incredible. I mean, they're unbelievable. It's really a cool thing. So I appreciate you guys having me.
Oh, of course. Your tour guides go through like a training process, right? They have to understand. Yeah, I bet you. That's good.
I give a list of
RHI, but we'll get that maybe someday, Donnie. We'll make them RHI level. So So Donnie, I got a question. You always, you're always smiling and you always say and do the right things, but I want to get maybe a little dirt from you. How about this? So
okay.
They have a bunch of restaurants. I'm sure restaurants are beating down your door right now to be part of the tour. So give me a restaurant or two that maybe at first didn't want to do business with you, and now, maybe you asked them and they blew you off, but now they're like beating down your door looking for business. And I know you probably won't tell us, but if you do, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
You say the PC thing.
I mean, there is truth to that. my vision is always, I've always kind of had this vision of knowing it. I saw, I saw the end product and knew it would be great, and I knew it would work as long as, everything came together. And there have been others that, blew me off, but it doesn't, bother me or affect me. I just see it as they didn't see what I had saw. And while things may have turned, and after a while, and the reviews, and just seeing it as a success, they've taken a different stance, but it really doesn't it's nor here nor there. It's I just want to have a successful business, a great name, continue to grow. I those things don't really do it for me. I don't need to.
Yeah, no, that's, you're always moving forward, and looking back. If you look in the past, and you're going to stay in the past sometimes. So
yeah, regardless of what people say or do, I mean, it happens to me too. We don't need you. You're cool. Thank you. You do a great service, but now they failed and they call you, and I don't look bad upon them, just like you mentioned, because, hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And just no problem. Come on aboard now. And great approach, because, everybody starts out and have their different ways of doing things. No, it's great. Don, this is great.
Thank you. And there's a few people out there that I know we could have done like amazing things if they maybe sat down and had that conversation. But, sometimes things don't always work out the way you want. And, you just gotta, for me, anytime I hit a wall, I just find a way to swim around it,
Right.
And I've hit many walls, but the tenacity and being, believing, and then, but of course, having people telling you how amazing it is your motivation. So how could you stop?
Exactly. I agree.
So, Donnie, tell me, so you worked for me, a couple times in the past. We talked about Social House. Tell me a little bit about yourself as when you were a server for me, or 10, 15 years ago, and your mentality of going from a line employee to a business owner, and now a successful business owner has got to take this total mentality of just the way that you're thinking. And all three of us here have restaurant adjacent companies and businesses that if the restaurants do well, we're doing well. So tell us about the mentality of, because we do have a lot of people and ask us about entrepreneurship, what it takes to get there. So let's pick the brain of you and how your mentality had to change from, and when you finally cut off that umbilical cord and said, you know what, now I have a product here. So tell us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I had never, foresaw myself being an entrepreneur and having my own business, and, taking as much pride as I do now as I did then. It was more, I was a little younger then, and more, just different state of mind. And I learned a lot, I learned a lot, and I was, I've come a long way from, how I used to be as a server, because it was just kind of just a job. And then it wasn't until I had the tools that actually your restaurant had given me that it fulfilled me more. And what I mean by that is, taking orders is anybody can do, doing the job. But at Social House, that was the first time that I had the actual ability to greet the table, speak with them as one-on-one, and ask them to trust me to order their dinner for them, social plates, make those, and that was a concept that, now everybody's like, oh, you go ahead and order for us, bring us the best dishes. But back then it was like, what do you mean you want to order for me? You're going to pay the bill too? But we had the dish, we had the product to warrant that. Mm-hmm. And so when, I got a lot of, I enjoyed that very much, and saying, all right, well, let's just start off with a couple of dishes. And if you like it, we'll go from there. If not, I'll bring you back the menu. And so then I started, getting this, oh my gosh, I would have never ordered that. And that was fantastic. Go ahead and bring us, the rest of the meal. And then that became like, enriching to see how many guests I can order for, for every table. It was like, it was a bit of entrepreneurship, is taking ownership in your section and turning it into a business. And obviously, you know, showing them a fantastic time, earning my 20% gratuity, but then I was getting handshakes at the end of the meal. And they were saying, that was awesome, thank you. And that was something I never had the ability to do as an order taker. It was always, all right, you ready for your check? Here it is, thank you, that sort of deal. And so now that freedom of actually being a server, but actually having a say, is what wanted me to provide an experience for people. And you know, that's kind of what really turned on the idea of doing this. And then I used to, you know, turn my business into, you know, I really I perfected my craftsmanship as a server. I mean, I think I was really good as far as multitasking, memorizing orders, never having to write them down. And I would challenge myself to do those things. I got a kick out of, you know, upping my game and, you know, and upselling and doing all these things that, you know, you can do when you're in a restaurant if you know how to do it. Getting reviews. You know, I remember I was getting reviews because my general manager at the time would always read them. So I wanted to make a point to show that, you know, I was doing my part, and all the staff were just like, your friends are writing those, your cousin's writing those. Cause I would get 3-4 a day. And that's unheard of, but you know, it's just cause I knew how to do it. And when you know, working in restaurants, you learn a lot. You learn about people, how to respond. For me, I worked in many different restaurants, many different cuisines. I know what guests are willing to taste, what they're a little is maybe too adventurous. And I just have a knack for, you know, being able to, you know, kind of put it all together. And so I never thought I would be in business for myself. But the reason I mentioned my mother and father is because I guess in hindsight, it runs in the blood. Even my sister has a business.
There you go.
So,
there you go. That's what's important, because it always comes from the parents. You know, you learned your hospitality, learned your customer service. It's excellent. It's excellent. Well, Mark, we're there, man. This is something that I love this part. I love when Mark asks his special question here. It's still not going to put you in the corner, though. Don, you love it. Okay, Mark,
Don,
it's your time.
Thanks for being with us. And I know you're a busy guy.
Absolutely.
We'll get moving along, but we asked a question with all of our guests. You know, we have a lot of people that view from all over the whole world sometimes. And, you know, living in Las Vegas is a totally different beast, right? It's a totally different animal. You go to different cities. So we'd like to hear a story, a Las Vegas centric story, you know, about maybe a celebrity you dealt with, or a gambling story, or just some story that you wouldn't believe it unless you actually lived here in Las Vegas. You know, we can talk around the three of us and we get it, but maybe somebody is like, wow, that actually happened, but it would just be a normal Wednesday for us here in Las Vegas. So, you know, is there any kind of story that you can share with us, you know, about something you wouldn't believe unless you actually were here and in the industry?
I can't think of one too heavily. I mean, the only thing that comes to my mind is, you know, we would get, you know, VIPs and big spenders, you know, all the time, and they would spend a lot of money. You know, I've even had, yeah, I've seen a lot. And then one time I, you know, had waited on somebody, and, you know, he was telling me how he had flown, you know, private jet, and he had his 3 girlfriends with him, and he was talking about the type of champagne that they had on board. And I was like, wow, this guy is, you know, I don't know who he is, but he's here to celebrate. And so I got excited, and we had
dollar signs come up.
Yeah, right.
And so I went to the Japanese Kobe beef, and, you know, I get excited about, you know, to talk about, they hadn't heard of it before. And, you know, we had the certificate of authenticity, and, you know, I was like, oh, you're going to love it. It's, you know, I was explaining the flavor profiles, and I thought this guy's celebrating, you know, he's, and so he said, yeah, bring it. And, you know, I asked how many ounces you'd like, and, you know, I think it was just a little bit for every person. And so, you know, they had an amazing meal. I think he, you know, tipped fine and everything. There was a time that, like, he was just at the table by himself, and I wasn't exactly sure, you know, where everyone had went, restroom, whatnot. And so then I guess turns out that, you know, and these were like, you know, younger people, younger ladies. And my general manager, like week and a half later, I guess he received a letter from one of the girls' moms saying how the guy went out and told him to go to the ATM and pay part of the bill. And it was just a fiasco because I wasn't expecting that. And it's unfortunate because I would have never presented that to them if I realized that he just wasn't who he was pretending, I guess, to be. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's Las Vegas. I'm sure we could tell a lot of stories between all of us about people. You know, you can be whoever you want here, you know, and you can, if you are somewhere big, you can come here and fall completely under the radar. But if you're also, you know, some guy from wherever, you can come here and be a rock star, right?
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's a good angle. That was a good story. I like that one.
Yeah, that was the other way, Jimmy. He got you going the other way on that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because we had one where one of the chefs, I mentioned it last week too, said he got a nice $7,000 watches. I was, this is the opposite, but you know what? It's what happens. You know, it's the truth. We're Vegas. It's all around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don, thank you so much for showing up. Everybody, look at this information. Lip Smacking Foodie Tours. There's the website down there, lipsmackingfoodietours.com. Check it out. Hire them, man. It's good. It's good stuff. Even if you're going on a date, it's good stuff. You know what I mean? So everybody follow the place.
If you mention Jimmy's name, Donnie will give you 90% off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Donnie, thank you very much, pal. Thank you.
And Mark, thank you for everything. And you've taught me a lot. If I didn't have work for you, a lot of things, it wouldn't be the same. So you taught me details and consistency.
Consistency is key, man. That's right, Donnie. We'll be in touch, man.
Okay.
Take care, buddy.
Thanks,
care.
Jimmy.
All right, bye-bye. Right. Great guest. Another one. We're doing it. We're doing it. That's great, man. So anything special for you this week coming up?
Yeah, well, I mean, like we're in the middle. Actually, I've taken a little bit of break from we're doing the job fair for the new restaurant that we're opening up. We luckily just actually right before the weekend, we got re-extended for our license from the Commission on Post-Secondary Education. So we're re-amped for another year and a half, all the way till 2022 in May. So all of our programs are good to go. So we must be doing something right with the eyes of the state. And just got two new programs certified as well. So we're happy. You'll be hearing more about that on social media. And we're doing a job fair on with Help of Southern Nevada and a couple other nonprofits on Thursday to help some underage people get back to work.
Excellent. Excellent, buddy. All right, pal. It's been great. And look forward to seeing you next week. And we'll be in touch during the week, pal. All right?
Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks, everyone.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.